this doesn't sound like your fills yet, here's why. Over the past decade of teaching drummers, I've seen the same thing again and again. Drummers who can play a few familiar fills and grooves, but still feel like their playing doesn't sound professional. I specialize in helping self-taught drummers fix that by rebuilding their foundation, not through talent, but through control. In this video, I'm going to show you the 3 foundations that actually make drummers sound professional. And once you understand these, you'll immediately hear why your playing might sound flat right now and exactly what to change. Here's how we're going to fix this. First, stick control that shapes the sound of every note. Second, rhythmic vocabulary, so your fills have structure instead of just hand movements. And third, orchestration, how you move around the kit without losing dynamics. When these 3 work together, your playing starts to sound professional. Before I explain everything, listen to this. I'm going to play 2 one-bar fills, same orchestration, same tempo. The only difference is control. Same orchestration, same length fill, but completely different sound. And that difference doesn't come from more speed or harder licks. It comes from 3 foundations most self-taught drummers never train. Here's what's actually happening. That first fill we heard sounded flat for one main reason. Every note was the same stroke. No height control, no dynamic shaping, and that's where professional sound actually begins, stroke control. Before I show you the mechanics, let me connect this to something I see constantly in lessons. A drummer comes to me who has a couple of go-to fills they always use. You know, the ones they've practiced the most and feel comfortable with. But then I ask them to play one of those fills slowly and shape the dynamics inside it. Now suddenly the control completely disappears. Ghost notes are too loud, accents aren't clear, and everything is the same height. That's when we realize the issue is not creativity, it's stroke control inside the fill. And the reason why that happens is simple. Every note you play on the drum is one of 4 basic stroke types: full stroke, downstroke, tap stroke, and upstroke. Pros don't think about this consciously while playing, but their hands are constantly choosing the right stroke so the sound comes out shaped and controlled. But this isn't about speed, it's about volume control and touch. Stroke height determines sound. If you can't control the height, you can't control the music. Now let's go back to that fill example. I'm going to slow it down and show you which stroke types are involved in this one-bar fill. Accents use a full stroke or downstroke. Ghost notes are tap strokes or upstrokes, depending on what happens next. So here's the key. Knowing the 4 stroke types is not enough. You need to practice them so well that you know how to use them in every given situation. If you do this, I can promise you it will revolutionize your playing. Now here's the second issue that usually exists at the same time as dynamic control problems: rhythmic vocabulary. Most self-taught drummers are fighting 2 things at once. Their notes don't have clear dynamic shape, and the rhythm inside their fills aren't clearly structured. So even when they try to play softer or louder, the fill can still sound unclear because the rhythm itself doesn't form a strong musical idea. Most self-taught drummers don't actually choose rhythms. They remember hand patterns. So the fill becomes a physical shape, not a musical phrase. And that's why it can sound busy but not clear. But professional drummers think in rhythmic placements. If we're in a 16th note grid, there are specific spots inside the grid where notes can land, and different combinations create different musical effects. Once you understand those options, you're not guessing anymore. You're building phrases. A lot of drummers show me a fill they learned online, and it looks impressive. But when I ask them to clap just the rhythm of the fill without the sticking, they can't. They learn the hand movements, not the rhythm underneath. And this is a problem because it makes you stuck in one form with no possibility to change anything without things falling apart. Think of the 16-note grid like a menu of options. Inside one bar, there are 16 possible rhythmic placements where notes can land. Most drummers only use a few of them, the same ones over and over. So their fills start sounding repetitive. Let me show you what I mean. Let's say these 4 rhythms are all I can use. Sure, I can create a couple of nice fills with them, but that's all. Now let's add 2 more rhythms into the vocabulary. This means I can already play dozens of more fills by just adding a couple of rhythms. Now imagine what would happen to your playing if you could use all 16 rhythms. It's like a language. If you only know 10 words, it's impossible to form many different sentences. But if you know 300 words, you can actually hold a conversation. These 16 rhythmic options are at the core of your vocabulary. The more of them you truly understand and can choose from, the more musical your fills become. The third foundation is orchestration. How you move those strokes and rhythms around the kit. This is where many drummers lose everything they just built. They might control dynamics on the snare, but the moment they start moving to the toms or cymbals, the balance disappears. Orchestration isn't just about which drum you hit. It's about how your body and stick motion adapt, so the sound stays controlled while you move. I see this constantly. A student plays a fill on the snare, and it sounds controlled. Then we orchestrate that exact same fill around the kit, and suddenly everything gets louder and messy. That tells me their control only works in one spot. It hasn't transferred into the movement yet. Here's a common situation. Let's say I play an accent on the floor tom, followed by a ghost note on the snare. Many drummers lift the hand high after the accent, then have to drop it straight down for the ghost note. That vertical motion breaks the flow and the ghost note comes out either too loud or just rigid. Now instead, watch this motion. I use more of a circular path. The stick travels from the accent into the position for the ghost note without an extra lift. The motion is more efficient and the dynamics stay controlled. The key here is how the movement is organized and knowing what comes next. When you play an accent on a tom, you always have to be aware of which hand is playing the next note and where it needs to land. Sometimes you need to come straight down from the tom into the next ghost note with the same hand. Other times, like when an accent is followed by another accent, that motion changes. So this isn't just one technique. You're learning 2 different movement solutions and, more importantly, learning to recognize which situation you're in. That awareness is what allows pros to move around the kit efficiently without breaking the flow or losing dynamic control. Now imagine sitting at the kit, playing a fill you've played 100 times, but now it doesn't sound like practice anymore. The ghost notes sit low and controlled, the accents speak clearly, and as you move around the kit, the sound doesn't fall apart. The rhythm inside the fill is clear, not random, and every note has a purpose. That's when a simple fill starts to sound professional. But that's not talent, that's these foundations working together. Everything you heard in this video comes down to foundations. When stick control, rhythmic vocabulary and orchestration work together, even simple fills start sounding musical. Take one idea from this video, slow it down and really listen to the sound you're creating. That kind of focused work is what actually moves your playing forward. And if at some point you want to go deeper into this kind of training, that's what I work on inside Dynamic Drum Academy. You'll find the link below if you're curious. But for now, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.